How sweet it is. The Duke Blue Devils move past the round of 32. They are on to the Sweet 16 following a dominant victory over James Madison at the Barclays Center. Let's talk about it on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils.
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, make sure you listen, man, to Locked On Blue Devils with JJ Jackson. He's awesome, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is JJ Jackson. I hope that you're doing well here today on Monday, March 25th, 2024. How sweet it is. Duke men's basketball is on their way to the Sweet 16 following a dominant performance yesterday in Brooklyn. They defeat James Madison by nearly 40 points. A really fun matchup and win for Duke, who now advances to the Sweet 16 to take on Houston this upcoming Friday in Dallas. On today's show, our good pal Jordan Mann from the Big J and Little J show will stop by to talk about everything going on in the life of Duke men's basketball. Do want to also give some love to the Duke women's basketball team who overcame a second half deficit yesterday to upset second-ranked Ohio State. So Carol Lawson and the Duke women's basketball program are heading to the Sweet 16 as well. Really excited for that team and that program. We will talk more about the Duke win over the weekend. We'll talk what's next for John Shire's team as they get set for the number one seed in their region, taking on the Houston Cougars. If you have not done so already, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. We are so close to 2,000 subscribers here on Locked On Blue Devils and want to celebrate that with you all. Please hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, as your support means so much. Follow us on X at LO_Blue Devils, and I'm there as well at _JJ_Jackson_. So without further ado, I'm very excited to bring him on in, our good friend Jordan Mann from the Big J and Little J show. And it doesn't get much better than that, my friend, with the basketball that we saw this weekend from Duke.
Yeah, no, I mean, Duke, shout out to the women's team, like you said, going to Sweet 16, upset against Ohio State, and men's team, dominant performance and something that was a pleasant surprise for me. Not thinking Duke was going to lose to James Madison, but JMU won 32 games this year. A really good team. They looked impressive against Wisconsin, and Duke just hit them in the mouth early, JJ, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Duke gets the win on Friday against Vermont. We'll talk about that a little bit later in today's program. In our second segment, we'll take a look at the box score for the game specifically against JMU, but talking about some of the big storylines going into this one, it is a lot of the fact that this is a 32-win basketball team, a JMU team that did pick up one of those 12-5 upsets. They knocked off Wisconsin. Duke wins on Friday night, and then they've got to wait around and see, okay, are we playing Wisconsin? Is it a rematch of that 2015 national championship game, or are we playing James Madison? Duke and JMU had never met before on the hardwood. That was the very first basketball game played between the two schools, and a really good win for JMU against the Badgers, so much so that going into the game yesterday, Duke closes as just a 6.5-point favorite. A lot of people thought this could be a competitive basketball game.
Yeah, and throw me in the hat for being one of those people. I thought the line should have been closer to 3.5. I'm not going to lie, because, again, on paper, they matched up very well, and JMU was really good, really physical team all year. And I don't care that they're in the Sun Belt or whatever. Like, it leveled out. They beat Michigan State on the road. They had other impressive wins, and they ran the table in 32-4 or 32-3 before losing to Duke. Duke just had their A game, and Duke, look, I really think, talk about the Vermont game, I thought Duke had an A game against Vermont. Like, I know it was low scoring, but it was low possessions, and Duke, though it was 4-5-point game sometimes, it went back up to 12. Like, Duke just seemed like they're always in control. It was almost like a Virginia game, like a classic Duke Virginia. You go up like 3 possessions, it felt like it was 15 points.
Yeah, and you don't look back, considering how well Duke was playing on both the offensive and defensive side of the floor. I mean, the defense this weekend was absolutely worth praising and talking about a good bit, but we've got to talk about that offensive explosion. We'll get into more of the individual numbers in just a little bit, but one of the key storylines, once again, America got to know who Jared McCain is as a basketball player. The whole world is now talking about this guy, Jordan, after his game yesterday.
Yeah, what do you do, JJ? I mean, I'm not familiar with Jared McCain. I thought he was a TikTok star, but yeah 30 points on 10 of 15, 8 of 11, and started early. First possession of the game, like got the kick out from Filipowski. One thing Vermont and JMU has to learn what not to do is double Flip out of the post, because Flip's done a really good job first 2 games facilitating early, not letting the trap come to him. Immediately gets it out of his hands, and he did that a few times to Jared McCain, and boy, did Jared McCain light it up.
In that game and in the Florida State game earlier this season, it is like, okay, the first 2 or 3 go in, you know you're set up for something really special from him. He has been an outstanding shooter this entire season, but there's just something about Jordan, and this is really just basketball 101, but a player like Jared McCain, if he sees the first couple go in, wow, watch out.
Yeah, I mean, when you not only see the first couple go in, JJ, when it's not contested, it's kind of like what Cormac Ryan did to Duke in Cameron. Like when he had 31, his first 3 threes, nobody was around him. Jared McCain's first 3 threes, nobody was around him. You cannot give a shooter just that wide open of a space, because then when you start contesting it, it doesn't matter. He's already locked in, and it showed. Like I think he started 6 of 6, 7 of 7, something crazy like that, and the rest was history. I mean, I said that twice already in the first 5 minutes of the show, but it truly was. It was an offensive clinic put on by Duke.
After the first couple to go in, and JMU did make some adjustments, they do start to find number 0 out on the court. It didn't matter, to your point. And some of them, in those catch and shoot opportunities, man, I don't know how McCain has time to even get his feet set, man. It's like he catches the ball already ready to shoot, although in real time, it doesn't even look like it doesn't even look like he's made it to where he's trying to go yet. And then within a blink of an eye, he's caught it, he's positioned himself, he's up, he's shot it, and it's in. I mean, it is so quick how fast it goes for him, man.
Yeah, like his hips are unbelievable. Like it really is. Like I think I tweeted out that his hips don't lie. Like Shakira has nothing on Jared McCain's hips. Like when he dribbles, like you said, like he's dribbling, looks like he's just attacking. All of a sudden his hips switch like that and he's pulling up. And you're like, wait, what just happened? Right. And when by the time you realize what's happening, the ball's through the net. Like the guy just is a gifted shooter and such a quick release, but such a quick base. Like the shot up top is really quick, but what's even faster is his feet. And that's the most impressive part.
Big stuff from Jared McCain, leading the way for Duke. 30 points for the freshman on 8 3-point shots made. Duke scored 93 points, and it wasn't competitive. Let's talk a little bit more about the game. Let's dive into the box score and a whole lot more with Jordan Mann after we take our first time out here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at Nissan. This week's March Madness bracket highlight is brought to you by our friends at Nissan. Each week, we're picking out one team that stands out, a team that's pushed it further than the rest. Just like all of the new 2024 Nissan SUVs, these guys were able to take it to the next level. Nissan highlighting the Iowa State Cyclones that can only be described as a Pathfinder. They've been thrilling to watch and have really created a lane for themselves, entering the tournament as one of the hottest teams in the country. They have a date with Illinois this Thursday in the Sweet 16. Take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Locked On Blue Devils is also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament. Whether you're betting on a big upset or the 1 seed, it's time to go dancing with America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel.com/lockedon. That is LOCKEDON. And bet on college hoops until they cut the nets down. FanDuel, a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. Moving forward here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils, JJ Jackson alongside my friend Jordan Mann of the Big J and Little J Show. Give us a promotion for your work, man. You've got these video breakdowns out there that I want people to go check out. Subscribe to your YouTube channel. Tell us all about it, Jordan.
Yeah, I appreciate it, JJ. So obviously Big J and Little J Show, we will be recording tomorrow on Tuesday and put it out hopefully by tomorrow night, if not Wednesday morning, just to talk about the JMU game like we are, and then previewing the Houston game. So tonight I'm going to watch film on Houston, have a good sense of awareness of what's going to happen leading into Friday. And then my YouTube, drawing a blank here, is JMann_, JMANN_. And I've done film breakdowns since the Miami game. I try and get them done. I missed the Vermont game because I had technical issues. I was at the beach this past weekend. Laptop was not working correctly. But I did the JMU breakdown, so that is up on my YouTube channel. And I will be doing a scouting report like I did for Vermont for Houston this week as well. So gives Duke fans a behind-the-scenes look of what to expect from Houston.
We're going to need to check that out, man, because this is the number one team in the country that Duke is getting ready to or number one seed, I should say. They were number one at certain points throughout the season before UConn kind of took over that top spot. So going to be a good one in Dallas. Houston, obviously geographically much closer to Dallas than Duke is, but we know the Blue Devils will travel quite well. So let's dive into the box score. Some of the numbers from the win over JMU in the round of 32. What jumps out to you, Jordan?
The assists, JJ. So
yeah.
I have it
22
up here
of them for Duke. Yeah.
But 22 of them. Mark Mitchell it was assist to turnover ratio. Duke had 22 assists to 6 turnovers, but Mark Mitchell 4 assists, no turnovers. Then you have Tyrese Proctor 5 assists, 1 turnover. Jeremy Roach 6 assists, no turnovers. It's just how clean of a game it was for Duke passing the ball around the perimeter, passing into the interior. Filipowski had 3 of the 6 turnovers, but I thought Filipowski had a good game. He had 14 on 6 of 8. Like, he let the game come to him. A couple of the turnovers, like, yeah, it happened, but I didn't think he played bad at all. He's played really good defense. He had 2 steals this game, a block, contested shots around the rim. He switched multiple times against Terrence Edwards Jr., who's their best player, and he made him shoot tough ones. And Filipowski's really getting it going defensively where he's guarding 1 through 5. He gets exhausted quick. There's a couple of times where I think it was the first 3 minutes. He came out with like 16:47 to go in the first half, but he was gassed because he's playing so hard, and Shire does a good job of pulling him right before the under 16 timeout. So he gets 47 seconds to a minute break with a TV timeout. So a smart, savvy move by Shire to do that for Filipowski. And then that's what stands out to me, JJ. It's just the assist, just how past the next guy and Duke's knocking down open shots.
Yeah, 22 assists for Duke on 33 made shots. Let's highlight this as well. How about the difference in the three-point line? It's a game in which Duke wins by 38 total points, but JMU goes 4 of 18 from three-point range. Duke goes 14 of 28, 50% from the Blue Devils. Incredible percentage, but they had a 30-point difference in three-point field goals alone in a game like this.
Yeah, you said it. And Duke's that's credit to Duke's defense first off, but then, 14 and 28. Duke missed a lot of open shots against Vermont. That's why I thought they played a really good game. They just missed open ones. They did not miss many open ones against James Madison. I mean, when you can make more three-pointers and the other team makes free throws, you're going to win those games.
Yeah, and JMU attempted more free throws than Duke did in a game like this. I know that was something that there are Duke haters out there. That's not news to anybody. But, of course, in the Vermont game, they were frustrated with how many free throws Duke was getting compared to Vermont, and a little quiet yesterday with JMU shooting more free throws than Duke, and it didn't matter. So
when you're front court, when Filipowski and Ryan Young have 4 fouls each, and Filipowski played 21 minutes, Ryan Young played 15, and then Sean Stewart had 3 fouls in 15 minutes. This doesn't really go for Duke gets all the calls.
Right. No doubt about that. Jalen Carey is on JMU, the younger brother of Vernon Carey Jr., who, of course, played for the Blue Devils in that season that got cut short with no NCAA tournament run before he went off and started his professional career. So that was a fun Duke tie to a game like this. But, it was just really dominant for Duke in their 38-point victory. Let's talk a little bit about Tyrese Proctor as well, who finishes with 18 points, 4 of 10 shooting. He's not afraid to shoot it, 40% from his looks on the outside. And I know you've been talking a little bit about his jump shot lately, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he has the prettiest jump shot on the team, like just aesthetically. Like when he shoots, it's just beautiful. I just don't know how it doesn't go in as much as he misses open looks. I don't know what to fix. Like it's beautiful. I think it's just repetition because at the end of the day, too, I think he's shooting 36% from 3 on the year. So it's not like he's shooting bad numbers, but The way he shoots, it should be in the low 40s. It really should be. And that's just me nitpicking because I think he's a talented player. And when Tyrese Proctor goes one-on-one like he did a couple of times against JMU and then settling for those fadeaways, 1-foot fadeaways, just put 2 points on the board. Like, it's just the perfect look for him. He's 6'5". He's going to use his length to shoot over a smaller defender. He's so good at that. And if he can just hit those open threes just a little more often, then that Duke scores 100 points easy, and which is crazy. In this round of 32, the same round Duke was eliminated last year, Duke could have put up 100 points.
Kyle Filipowski only took one shot in the Vermont game, made all 3 points from the free throw line, and Duke still won. We'll talk a little bit about that after our final timeout here on the show today. But going to his game specifically against JMU, what did you like out of Flip's performance?
Well, similar, like you said, we're going Vermont, but he just doesn't force the issue. Like, he did score 14 on 6 of 8, but he let the game come to him. And Roach did a good job in the pick and roll game of hitting Flip early on the roll and letting Filipowski make the decision of, am I going to go to the rim and lay it in, or am I going to kick it? And most of the time he laid it in, and the other times he kicked it. And he's just playing with a good pace right now. He's not playing sped up. He's playing under control. And yes, he had 4 fouls, but he didn't have any offensive fouls, so he's not running into a help side defender like we've seen in the past. He's going off 2 feet strong, and that's what I'm proud of him the most, especially the one play that I said in my breakdown that I thought summed up the game perfectly was Filipowski having that putback dunk off the Roach missed layup to make it 7-2. Because how many times, JJ, have we seen Filipowski get offensive rebound? He makes it, he lays it in with his right or left hand, but something about just dunking in traffic and standstill traffic, and you're just hanging on that rim that millisecond, it just sets the tone, and it showed the energy Duke had compared to James Madison.
What did you like out of the 15 minutes from Sean Stewart?
Dude, his motor, like his motor, like I say, he goes 85 miles an hour at all times. Just sometimes it's a school zone. So, like, but in this game, it works. Like, this game, it worked because in 15 minutes, 5 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and he doesn't have a block, but he had 2 or 3 that he contested that led to transition points. I know you're loving that.
That's one of your best liners that you've ever had, man. That's one of the best one-liners that we've seen.
But
wow, good stuff.
I just love his energy, JJ. He 5 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists in 15 minutes. And yeah, he goes 85 miles an hour at all times.
Yeah, no kidding. Great stuff from Sean Stewart. Really active on the day and loved it. Hey, Duke only got 2 points from Mark Mitchell, so they only get 3 from Kyle Filipowski and went over Vermont. Only 2 for Mark Mitchell against JMU, and other guys stepped up. It helps, of course, that we had 30 from Jared McCain. But even Mark Mitchell, I thought, did a little bit of everything. His 2 points that he scored, a really aggressive drive to the rim and right-handed dunk.
Yeah, no, that dunk was impressive. The one critic I guess I'll be on this is Mark Mitchell. He was 1 of 6, and all of them around the rim. He just has to go up stronger instead of trying to draw the foul. He just needs to go up. He's 6'8", 6'9", just extend. And you see how quick he can get off the floor. Just go up and elevate and try and flush it. If you miss or get blocked trying to dunk it, hey, I can live with that. I can't live with 6'8", 6'9", and then a 6'5" guy comes and blocks it. Like, you just got to go up strong. But besides that, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Great line.
Duke over JMU, 93-55. If you follow Jordan on X, you saw him put out a little meme. That's JMU is now Jared McCain University after his performance yesterday. So remarkable stuff from Jared. Big time win from the Blue Devils. All right, one more timeout.
Duke Facebook. I was going to say, shout out Duke Facebook. I didn't come up with that.
Okay, so someone else did. Very clever.
Yeah.
You're just resharing the good things out there. Okay.
Correct.
Perfect. We love it. Jared McCain University. Duke wins. They're on to the Sweet 16. One more timeout. We wrap up our show here today on Locked On Blue Devils. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. They've got a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else, all doing that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses Get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Such a quick turnaround time. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Last few moments here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. JJ Jackson, Jordan Mann talking about the Blue Devils heading on to the Sweet 16. They'll take on Houston. We've got a film breakdown of the Cougars coming later this week from that guy, Jordan Mann. Go check out his great work and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Subscribe to this one. Subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils as we're closing in on 2,000 subscribers. But let's go back to Friday night, Jordan. The round of 64, upsets all across the NCAA tournament field, particularly in that 4-13 opening round matchup. We saw my alma mater, the Auburn Tigers, in the same spot get upset by Yale in the NCAA tournament. Our Duke Blue Devils, however, did not have that happen. They took advantage of the task at hand and knocked off Vermont. What did you think of that game?
I thought it was a gutsy win. I mean, again, Duke was up 5 at halftime, but you got to think Filipowski forced 2 prayers that went in. So Duke easily could have been up 9 points at half, should have been up 9 points. And they made 2 fluke shots. That's what I said on Twitter. I was like, hey, you got to look at shot quality at the end of the day. And Duke was getting what they wanted to offensively. Vermont was really working, shooting tough ones. And you saw in the second half, Duke outscored them 30-18. And Vermont only scoring 18 points in the second half, JJ, because Duke was just harassing them, where they could not get anything going offensively. They're not a great three-point shooting team, but they have a couple of three-point shooters, and they shot 5 of 20 as a team, and credit Duke's three-point defense.
Filipowski finished with just those 3 points like we talked about, only one shot attempt in the game against Vermont. Before we get to the rest of what he was doing, why do you think that happened?
Just they were trapping him immediately. Like he would post up, and right when he'd catch it, they'd either go on the catch or on the dribble. And you're not going to score any points when you are what they're trying to eliminate. And it's just going to happen. And that's what turned him to a facilitator. And he played a great game. He really did. But that's what happens is when, hey, we're going to take the best player out. But that's what happens, JJ, is I'm more so let one guy get his and don't let the team beat you. And you see what happens. You take the best player out and the team beats you.
Yeah, it's a good Duke basketball team is what happened there. So 12 rebounds. Good job on the glass for Filipowski. 4 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. He was active himself on the defensive end. A couple of his blocks were just mean, man.
Yeah. They were early, too. I think he had 1 or 2 in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game. That also set the tone. Like his energy defensively is what is giving Duke this personality that I think the nation was looking for with Duke. Like I know everybody's saying or coming into the March Madness, Duke's soft, blah, blah, blah. And I get it because they don't see like a certain image. Filipowski's been mean on defense the last 2 games, and it starts with him. He's the face whether he likes it or not. And 7-footer that's now blocking shots around the rim and playing good defense, grabbing 12 boards, 4 offensively, setting the tone for a physical team.
All right, it's early in the week, but at the end of the week, we travel to Dallas. Duke's going to be playing Houston in the Sweet 16. If they were to win, the other side of the bracket had a lot of chaos over the weekend as Kentucky was eliminated, and we will see Marquette and NC State go head-to-head. The winner of that game plays the winner of Duke and Houston. So just quick thoughts on the upcoming regional final weekend as Duke goes to the Lone Star State.
Well, JJ, for a split second, A&M almost pulled that out, and I was ready to go to war on Twitter about Elko leaving Duke to go to A&M. That was in my head. It was going to be the Elko game for me. Didn't happen, so we're good. We avoided that bullet. But
yeah,
I think this, yes, you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it as a hard gauntlet or it's what Duke needs to do. And to me, I think it's what Duke needs to do. Duke's been soft. Duke's been called soft. So who do they play? They play James Madison, who's physical, won 30-plus games. Okay, you beat them. Could have been a fluke. Who do you play next? The best defensive team in the country. You have to knock them off. You knock them off, you could play NC State, the same team that eliminated you from the conference championship. How are you going to respond to that? And then so on and so forth. So the narrative is there for Duke. This could just be, hey, you're soft, so got to beat James Madison, got to beat Houston, and then you have to redeem yourself against NC State.
Got to find a way to get the job done. Really, really fired up to see what Duke can do this upcoming weekend in the Sweet 16. Jordan, we'll be following your work all along the way. Let's have fun this week, man. Let's go get a couple of more Duke wins. And next week, I still want to be talking about the Duke basketball team. One more time, promote all the work that you've got.
Yeah, you can find the podcast on my YouTube page at jman_. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And then, yes, my YouTube, jman_. Got over 200 subscribers now, so things are going smoothly. And but on all seriousness, I appreciate everybody that's checked it out. And more film breakdowns and video breakdowns and even player breakdowns in the offseason will be coming along. So I appreciate you letting me promote my work, and hopefully more content will be coming out.
We can't wait for all of that. It's really good stuff. All right, man, be good. Thanks for the time, and we'll do this again soon, okay?
See you, brother.
All right, that's Jordan Mann joining us here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. And how about that? Duke heading to the Sweet 16. We love it. Let's take care of business this weekend and keep this season going. More talk about the win over James Madison. More talk about the matchup coming up this weekend against Houston and all that good stuff throughout the week here on Locked On Blue Devils. But that's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating and written review. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. So close to 2,000 subscribers. Follow us on X at LO_Blue Devils. Your support means the world. As always, go Duke. I'll talk to you tomorrow. My name is JJ Jackson. Thank you and good day.